Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fish Tank. It's tournament time, and as you can see, I'm joined by my good friend, Disu. Disu, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Good to hear it. Great to have you here. Now, Disu, you may have known him as Def Shoot, or Def Shooty, or Def Shot, or one of the many things. Are you officially Disu now? I know you changed your name
Yeah.
on Steam to Disu. Is that the...
I'll change my other usernames as well. Yeah, it's just simpler than the 20 character name I came up with like 2 years ago. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, if you guys are not familiar with Disu, he's a very, very experienced Minion Masters player of the highest order. He's played for a long time, played in many, many events, done really, really well. Hasn't played in too many tournaments recently due to real life restrictions, but potentially we may see him in more in the future, so that's good. So what have we got today? We have got the grand final of my very first Fishbowl Brawl tournament. It's 1v1. It's Dark Crow against SeT. And these players will have played each other a lot on the ladder and a lot in previous tournaments as well. So they'll have a very good idea of the sort of things that they'll like to play, especially SeT, because SeT likes to play a very, excuse the pun, but set deck. So do you think that makes it easier for an opponent to play against him because you've got a much better idea of what he's going to play, so you can ban or tech against something that you kind of have a good idea of what he's going to play?
I do. I did that a lot, back in the day when I competed in tournaments earlier in the past years, because he is a great player, but I would have to say he's also relatively predictable because he has the same flow that he likes to be consistent with throughout his matches. Dark Crow is a little more out there, but he has certain key cards that I recognize that he always go to. Maybe it changes to the metas, but he has a lot of comfort cards. I'm sure everyone does, though. I have noticed he has a scrap deck, which I won't fully spoil, but he used it in the last tournament, which we'll be watching. I'm sure he'll use it in this set, and it's very potent, so I hope we'll see that.
Yep. Okay, so this is going to be the grand final, best of 5, conquest rules, which means once a player has won with a master, they can no longer play with that master. And of course the players have ban powers, as you may have seen in the Knights Duel events that we do each month. The players have ban powers. They can ban 1 master and 3 cards now, which means their opponent cannot play those. And of course their opponent has that power back against them. So if we have a look here at the bans, we can see Dark Crow banning Morelia, Bounceberry Flinger, Aimbot and Ardera, and SeT banning Rect, Zeppelin Bomber, Zip Zappinator and Ardera. How do you feel about those bans? Pretty expected, fairly meta bans?
I did not see much of any Ardera through the tournament through my own experience, and I never banned her. So I don't know. I mean, I also haven't been around that much, so I'm sure they're all banning her because they've had bad experiences against her. Zeppelin Bomber is a very clear targeted ban against a specific deck, the scrap one that I was talking about against Dark Crow. Zappinator, it's just really annoying. It's super, super reliable defense because you can't split it down in almost any scenario, and it's got a ton of damage potential. Dark Crow banning Bounceberry Flingers because SeT's always going to use them. Aimbot, that's a decent choice. And then Ardera because apparently she's been a big problem for them. I don't blame them. She's a very good one-push unit, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, Bounceberry Flingers have been everywhere in this meta. Remember, they got changed, so you get 1 of them now, but you do get the Growth Burst Shroom. They still have the Myriad, so you get 2 of them, so that's 2 Shrooms per cycle. So
and it's also another Bridge Grab card, so it's got a lot of potential right now.
Yeah, and of course Aimbot, a very, very strong ranged card. Often you find it in a deck with enough tech and enough Outlander cards to make sure it's always going to have the marksmanship and the nats. Looking at potentially at the PTR, maybe a nerf coming up for requiring more tech to make it more difficult to get that fully stacked out aimbot. So yeah, those are the ban powers. Let's get ready to load in to game number 1 of this grand final. Okay, here we are loading into game number 1. Take us away, Disu.
Alright, so we got Dark Crow playing Morelia, which is what he banned versus SeT. SeT on APEP, so that'll make it easier to defend the strike and push. We got Zen Chi coming out of Dark Crow, and it looks like this is SeT's most comfortable deck that I've been seeing him use, where he has a lot of monkeys, and it's basically like a semi-heavy APEP that he tries to just push with, and then maybe get Mana Frenzy. We'll see. ATG drone from Dark Crow is going to be very good counterplay here, but we already see.
I think SeT's deck has a lot of melee units, not too much anti-air, and things like the ATG drone could be really difficult for SeT to deal with.
There is a direct counter with I'm blanking. What's the name of the 5-mana spell that I have not picked enough to remember?
Harmful Souls.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
It is a very good counter to ATG, but it is also very easy to catch with the Horde minions such as Morelia's Book, spawning skeletons. So that can't be reliable for SeT, except maybe on defense.
How do you feel about playing Harmful Souls outside of an Accursed deck?
I think it's very good counterplay. I would rely on it for taking out Herald if Slitherbound was meta, and it's also very good if the 5-mana range unit is meta, because it's an even trade, and if you're on offense, you can use it to get way better damage on your opponent.
Nice Impetus Blast, but that Battle Monkey's going to be pretty damn tanky. It does come out on top as well. See a cross there from Dark Crow, not happy with that trade, and that Battle Monkey with the Growth Burst, Shroom buff, the Giant Growth, is something that really does need to be handled with care.
There's another bat's going to be a constant issue for that monkey. Not going to heal, going to lose more HP. And we got a mostly even game, but I'd say it's in SeT's favor right now with control.
Yep, small XP lead for SeT. As
players
always,
using the new Shroom carrier, that's interesting.
yeah, that Shroomer, of course, will split when it gets to the other side, give you 2 copies. So if it does get across the bridge, it is good value.
It used to be only like 75% of the stats, but it was recently buffed to 100%, and I think that's good, because I wouldn't say it's particularly overpowered. I'd say it's a very interesting card, though.
Yeah. Okay, you dropped the monkey there to try to tank some of the hits. But the aimbot unfortunately just died to the grenadier in there. And as always, as we always see with Morelia, there's always going to be this perk 3 push that may or may not finish the game.
But right now, SeT is good on HP. Usually, when you're facing either Ravager or Morelia, if you have a lot of HP, you're more concerned about the XP that you'll lose when defending, rather than actually dying. At least in these really competitive matches where you know players will do their best, and you know the defense is going to be hard to actually push through for, and you're getting the win. You just try and capitalize by drowning your opponent and getting the lead with the XP.
And there we see the ATG drone mopping everything up and then getting countered by the Harmful Souls. Reasonable XP lead at the moment for SeT.
Yeah, I think SeT's taking this right now, but it could change. It's just hard for Morelia. She's a very stable character. For APEP, he's a bunch of RNG, right? So maybe APEP will get something bad, maybe he'll get something good, and that could change how this goes.
Yeah, remember the perks now give you a different card each cycle rather than the same card each cycle, so good and bad RNG, high and low rolling's not so much a thing anymore. So how is he going to deal with this dragon? He's going to have the Shen, which is going to be pretty good at almost stun locking it. He's going to have the Battle Monkey to do some good DPS, so potentially he's got the tools to handle the dragon.
Yes, and he could also be lucky and pull a perk 1 card like Hugger or a perk 3 card like Curse Bearer and just save that for the dragon once the Dark Crow hits perk 3. But what I could see happening is SeT defends with Shen, Dark Crow plays more goals marked on top, but then SeT can capitalize by then making Battle Monkey attack the dragon. You got like 5 swarmers around him, that'd be a ton of DPS.
Yeah.
So that might work.
He does have, of course, Dark Crow the support spells to potentially deal with Shen. He's got the Swarmers there. He does have the Impetus Blast, which could be key. Right, so the Magma Cannon, that's going to be a perk 3 card. That's going to really help him lock down that bridge for a little bit. So both players at perk 3. So the Dragon is available. Has been reduced in cost from the spellbook. But look at all this damage coming out. He's got to be so careful with the Battle Monkey there as well. Is he going to hold out?
I don't think so.
Can he finish this?
The Spear Throws are coming in as well.
Oof, okay, 28 HP.
An important thing to note here is normally SeT runs Beam of Doom, but instead he's running Harmful Souls, so he has no way of finishing this match right now.
No face damage from the Harmful Souls, which of course is a big problem. But there's a great heal coming in. Double heal from Dark Crow, 200 HP. Dragon pushing at the bottom, but the concern is at the top for Dark Crow.
Right. not very much mana right now, and this pushes Harry to defend.
No,
so
I don't think he can deal with this. That aimbot just absolutely melts.
Shin shock stick maybe? No.
And there we go. SeT takes the
Oh,
first
yeah.
game and gets into a 1-0 lead.
I think during that final moment there, Darko could have tried using Shin shock stick. It looked like it was fully charged, and I think he could have caught both units. Still might not have been enough though. I don't know if it actually have taken everything out. But that's one of the things is when you're going down one lane, if you have a smart opponent and you're low HP, they can just head down the other. And while you're pushing, you're the one in danger of dying, so they can just kill you before you even have to defend.
Okay, and then we see SeT taking a 1-game lead. Let's get ready for game number 2. Okay, let's loading to game number 2. Take us away, Disu.
Alright, we got Darko starting off on earlier again, but with an entirely different deck. SeT playing my favorite master in the game, Diona. It looks like SeT's just repeating the same deck on a different master, maybe with a few slight adjustments, but I don't know yet.
That's very common for SeT to do,
Right.
as we know.
Once
So
he
really
has
it's...
something that he feels stable with, he likes repeating it.
Yeah,
if it wins, it wins, right?
a Darkray's got to take advantage of that. He's got to be prepared of what's coming, and he's got to try to deal with it. He's got to tech against it. He's got to ban against it. He's got to punish
that.
that.
How this matchup's gonna go. The Curse Bearer is pretty kind of useless for Darko in this match. It's okay, but it doesn't really have any particular moment where it's great. Like the best thing it is against is the defensive chopper or like a growth bush shrimp monkey.
So Darkrai really did sit back deeply at the start there and hemorrhage a lot of XP before playing.
And a harmful souls. Well, that's a lot of mana though. That plus the trap. And wow, the dragon survived as well. And there comes the stun. That is such a problem for SeT. I mean, it's not terrible, but that's just really hurting the bridge battle value.
Trying to get some value from that hugger. Every time he gets a kill, it does speed up his ascension.
Right. It might go top, nah. So it's probably going to die to Diona, but it did get decent value. Battle Monkey is very popular ever since. Well, it was pretty popular, and then with the change to the monkeys and the 2 mana, 2 mana get a growth push room, it's made these 1-unit monkey cards all the more popular.
Is Darkrai... Oh yeah, he is. He's got the... I was wondering what he was playing that's going to be Ascension buff, but he's got the Toll of the Dead. As you can see on the on the bridge at the bottom, there is the green circle, which is the future skeleton that is waiting.
I'm a little surprised that's the only card he has that benefits from the Curse Ascension. Usually you see... Oh wait, does he have Skeleton Crew as well? I have not noticed.
Let's have a look when it comes back around.
Because usually you have 2 or 3 at least that you want to benefit. Oh, that's a bit of an odd chain lightning.
Yeah, it didn't really hit much at all apart from that monkey. It doesn't look like he has the skeleton crew.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a Zenchi stroke a curse deck with a bit of a power spike from a curse, but not too much. He will of course get the bonus on his perk 3, Nirvir's Dragon, with the breath will be an Ascension breath, so that'll do more damage and drop skeletons, assuming he's reached Ascension at that point.
Right. I think he'd be in a better position if he was playing a heavier curse deck here. Not heavy, but more value than 1 card based on this matchup from SeT, because I don't think SeT can do much to punish him early game, so you really want that late game benefit. However, I think he does stand a good chance in this match. He has good defense, and his offense might be enough, but pretty close right now.
SeT taking a little bit of damage there. It doesn't really have too much to deal with the Jin Long.
Very little anti-air in this SeT deck, but I like to run Diona like that because it feels more comfortable when you get a trap every second cycle. You kind of get away with it more.
Yep, the traps are timer based now, of course, so
Oh, yeah, correct.
you can get them pretty quickly.
Okay.
Okay, and there again, the Jing just rule in the air. Another chain lightning that didn't seem amazing.
Yeah, I think SeT might Darkrai might want to win on HP, but he's not close enough yet to really go for it.
I feel like this Battle Monkey and Shen together, it seems kind of tricky for him to deal with, but he does have
Oh, that Hermful Souls
the
at the top was
curse.
completely wasted. That was on nothing.
Right. So perk 3 for Dark Crow. SeT's been there for a little while, so SeT gets the extra trap. Dark Crow has the dragon available, but he's likely to want to wait until Ascension. He's at 73 out of 80 Spectral Essences at the moment, so almost there, but not quite.
See at the top there we go. Yeah, that's a solid Chain Lightning. It's unexpected, and now the defense goes down and you're hitting the Shen. Pretty good.
Yeah, but it's this combination of the Battle Monkey and the Shen, which is tricky for him to deal with.
Yeah. No heavy answer, except for the dragon, of course. Here it
Okay,
comes.
so no Accursed Breath buff there.
Yeah,
He's
I
going to
think
have
that's
to
fine.
support the dragon with the Shen. Right, but look at the XP for SeT. He's at 177, Dark Crow's at 140. He's such a long way down. What's his
Really
win
see
condition
Dark
here?
Crow
Does he just
playing-
have to go down the other end and win with the dragon if he's going to win here, Dark Crow?
Pretty much, but it is possible to win on XP. It is possible. Because like he's going to hold that top bridge for a very long time, and if he can put pressure on bottom, which right now it's pretty decent, like he'll catch up. And here comes
Yeah.
the skeletons as well from Toll of the Dead, so this pressure is enormous. And there's a ton of damage on SeT right now, which could be lethal.
Which goes to
Oh,
show
SeT is
XP
not bad.
might not be everything. Chain Lightning comes in. There's no way he holds this. Okay, Dark Crow brings us back. It's one game all. And as we kind of expected there, that perk 3 push with Nirvir, just far too much for him to deal with.
Hmm. And even if SeT could, well, I think he would have lost out on XP because he was so desperate to defend.
Yep, he's got to put all that money, all that mana, into dealing with the dragon. He can't afford to take that bottom bridge at all. Okay, let's get ready for game number 3. Cut.
Is my voice still raspy?
No, not really. Normal.
Back to my normal, attractive self-fish? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't.
Fish. Whoa, whoa,
I
calm
did
down.
not say that.
Whoa. Ease up on the gas. Anyways,
It's getting set up for game number 4. Or is it 3? I think it might be 3.
that is how it works.
Yeah,
Good job.
counting's kind of hard.
I know you only got to 10 in school. It's okay.
Three. Okay, we're loading into game number 3. It's one game all. Dark Crow against SeT. What do we see this time, Disu?
Okay, I like what I'm seeing from Dark Crow right now. I like whenever I see like a musketeer and a snake druid, it makes me wonder what they're going to be playing and if it's fully Slither dedicated or if they're just throwing those cards in there for counterplay. Because the thing about the faction Slither is it has a whole bunch of counterplay cards like Starlancer, Snake Druid, etc., etc.
Ooh,
And
Herald
we
our
are
moon.
seeing Herald, but SeT probably doesn't have Hermful Souls this time because this is a completely different deck. And I'm seeing a Fergus, which will be easy to counter with Herald. So this could be really bad for SeT.
We were speaking about how SeT often played the same thing, but he is switching things up here. Does have some familiar cards in there, but it's very different with things like the Fergus in there. We've seen Fergus a lot in the meta this season, primarily to deal with the Shroomama
And
spam.
I'd say, yeah, which has been, I've seen it a bit in 1v1, usually on Mortars, and it is a bit of a pain. It's very overwhelming if you can't pull together your defense well enough, and if you don't have a lot available.
Yeah, if it's even if you revive one of the tiny little Shroomamas, you do get the full fat one from the tombstone. Right, here's the
That's very, very
statue,
good here.
and the Herald push. Lash of our Moon comes in.
Okay. I mean, SeT is out of mana, and this Herald's going to revive, so this is going to be a ton of tower damage.
Yeah, it looks like the Herald is kind of the key unit here that he needs to deal with.
Right, and are there any spells here for SeT? I don't think so.
He does have the
So-
Defensor, which is an okay answer to it, as could do with some support,
Yeah.
but it's if you're going to throw something in
then
front of
there's
it, that
Daka
does
as
help.
well. So Daka is probably the #1 killer of the
Yep.
Herald, but there's a lot of control that the opponent can use to protect the Herald.
Yeah, you're generally sending in like the statue there, with the Herald behind it, but the Curse Bearer could be really crucial for SeT because it just sort of melts that statue.
And then the Annihilator is pretty good here because it's AoE if the statue... Okay, there it is. Well done by Dark Crow that have attacked the Herald.
Yeah, so this is kind of a bit of SeT's trying to get a good Daka, but Dark Crow needs to try to block it.
You almost have to predict the Herald to get a chance of catching it in these competitive matches.
Yep. Or you just hold on to the Daka and use it defensively on your side of things when you control it. Otherwise, you're just going to end up getting no value out of it at all.
That was good by SeT. That went very well. Ahead on XP, only a little behind on mana. That's nice bats. They're going to be very annoying and almost definitely kill that snake tree.
Yeah, we often see with the Herald deck, we often see them playing Vortex to pull everything together, but he doesn't have that control spell. And you see again the statue's pushed in. He's doing a little bit of chip damage each time, but not really enough for that to be his sort of win condition at the moment.
The Herald is a 6 mana carry to take out the Annihilator, and I don't think that's very good.
Yeah,
because it's not like...
It is expensive. He does get the bottom bridge, but at what cost?
Yeah. A lot of Slitherbound ready, so the next Herald will have plenty of support, but we'll see. We'll see.
Probably just going to Daka this statue. That's kind of almost guaranteed value.
Take what you can get, really.
Yeah. And look at that statue barely got across the bridge. And now the Herald's here, but it doesn't have that front line to support
the
it.
Herald is not being targeted. That is drastically terrible for the SeT there.
Okay, aimbot goes down. Not sure about that hypnotize.
Yeah.
It kind of hypnotized the Annihilator, but because the Scrat was underneath the Herald, it still attacked the Herald anyway. So the hypnotize didn't really do it anywhere near what he wanted to in that situation.
And again, the Annihilator did everything it needed to before that Spirit of a Mountain. So it's just not what I like to see here, personally.
Yeah, so he's spending 6 mana to kill the 5 mana Annihilator, but as you say, that Annihilator's already got a lot of value anyway. So that's a really bad trade for Dark Crow in that situation. But XP about the same. Are we going to see the power of Apep? It's going to get that free 4 mana card. This one's going to be a ghost, which is probably not going to be the most useful thing.
Yeah, insta-play it, just cycle and move on if you like, because it's not what you want here.
Do not want to hold on to that card, because it's going to slow down all of your future perks from that.
In this match, Dark Crow's the aggressive, so it's really a useless pull, and that was one of the lowest things you could have gotten. If not the lowest.
Yeah, the Daka just getting more powerful with that perk 3 extra Scrats on the field.
The XP is growing a bit for SeT, and with the Scrats swarming everywhere, this could be pretty rough for Dark Crow. Bottom bridge, great value on defenso, and that boom is going to be late.
Okay, so that's probably the best hypnotize of the day, but again, it hasn't really done a huge amount. That aimbot completely untouched. I think it might be a drone walker actually.
This is where I tried Prediction Doctor. Maybe it would have failed, but I would do anything to try and catch the Herald just once with the Doctor. Because if you do that, it's in the bag, really, when the match is going to start in.
Slitherbound's being a real pain just getting in the way. He can Daka the statue now, if he wants to. Hasn't really got much out to power up the Daka, though.
This is kind of Dark Crow's last push to keep XP from getting the mana frenzy for SeT, and it's not looking good. Another
is low HP.
That Priestess pull, another really undesired pull for Dark Crow from Cut 3, which just doesn't look easy.
I mean, the Priestess is doing a good job keeping the Herald alive.
It's true.
Dark Crow's 130 HP. He's not going to die to this Defenso, is he? Okay, once SeT clears this, then he's going to be in a much better position. But can he clear it?
SeT is not getting on the bridges. I think he overestimated how much he needed to defend with there, and I think he might have. He just put himself in a bad spot because Dark Crow caught up in XP and has bridge control. This is rough.
Okay. How does SeT get the bridges back? What does he have? Does he have any face damage? Doesn't look like it. There's no way there's a Daka getting through to face.
this is the second time he's had no face damage, and he kind of needed it. I think he might regret that. And he's pushing through, though. What an amazing Spirit Herald that was doing.
Okay, that's going to be a great Daka. A Kurnath there. Doesn't have any spells to take advantage of the Kurnath. And that's the first... I feel like that's the first Fergus we've seen today in this match.
There was at least one earlier.
Okay, he's definitely not played it too much.
Okay, right now SeT has control, but you can get a defensive rebound if you're Dead Crow, because SeT has no spells, so it's kind of easy to build up minions on the left side. But when SeT has the bridges and plays more cards, he's also getting more strats, so it's getting more and more overwhelming. Like
Darkrow's got no HP to play with, 30 HP left, got tickled by a scrat there. The bat might jump on him, 10 HP. This is the beginning of the end. There we go, SeT takes this one by 2 games to 1, and good to see Ratbo out there.
Yeah, that was pretty solid, but it was yet again another time where SeT was in a position of Dead Crow being in lethal range, but SeT having no way to finish him off with spells. It's just rough because it puts him in a position where he doesn't have control over immediately ending the match, and you can lose at those junctions even though your opponent is basically dead.
Yep, that's the risk you take. Okay, so that's SeT taking a 2-game-to-1 lead. Let's get ready for game number 4. Okay, here we go, loading into game number 4. SeT is 2 games to 1 up. Can Darkrow fight back?
Okay, Dead Crow finally coming out with some Growth Mushroom Zenshi gameplay of his own. SeT again on Diona, looks like he's repeating the same deck. I have to say he's stubborn, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to stop playing it just because he lost with it, which isn't necessarily a bad idea, but again, it is dangerous to be predictable. That's all I'll say on that one. In this case, Prowler from Dead Crow will have no spells to stop it.
I feel like we've seen SeT be predictable over and over again in events, but not really get punished too often for it. So you can see why he continues in that vein.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Oh wait,
right.
Did Dead Crow play this earlier on a different master?
I don't think he had Cage Prowler before.
Yeah,
but
it's a slight adjustment.
Similar.
Okay.
Okay, so didn't have any way of shutting down the Prowler. What value can he get out of it? Gonna mop up those tantrum throwers, do a bit of face damage, keep that top lane.
Both lanes got a lot of control right now. Huge mana lead as well.
A lot of shrooms out, so that means that the Shen Shock Stick, we can see they're fully charged. So at 4 charges, that's 8 Shock Rocks worth of damage.
Yeah, that's
just 200 damage.
Screwy Scrap. Annihilated here.
Nice. Okay. Shen Shock Stick also re-aggroes the Master off of the Jing as well, so Jing will live a little longer. So that's a decent amount of damage coming out from Darkrow there.
Getting SeT down to half. Of course, that can heal via Ruffles, but it's favoring Dead Crow right now. It's just hard to tell because the match is going to be very momentum based. Since Dead Crow's playing Cage Prowler, there's going to be constant times where there's a calm moment in the match, and then there's really hectic defense for SeT.
So he's probably denied that Prowler. Like, the trap puts out DPS so fast, it's very difficult to react and shut it down. If you're ready for it, you can react and aggro it if you're super fast and you play it in the right spot. But it's going to be...
It needs to get off like 8 hits around there, so you can also take it out one shot if you're an assassin or something along the lines.
Yeah. But it does do those hits real fast, so you've got to react quickly and appropriately. Right, Shroomer splits at the top.
Okay.
That trap's nicely placed at the bottom there, keeping that defense so completely off of the bridge, so it was red all the way during that fight until it moved right at the end there.
Should have played Bloodham's bottom to stop the Drone Walker, but top bridge was important to defend, so Cage Prowler stays alive and healthy. That's a good artillery right there. There it is.
Defenso being a pain, but it is going to go down. Shen didn't hit the Defenso right at the end there, so he is just alive. Oof.
And that bottom bridge is going to be an easy free unit because no way to stop that for SeT.
Shockstick comes in, kills that.
Keeping
Drone
Shen
Walker.
alive yet again.
Yep. Oof. We've seen it many times. Shen with just a few HP can still be a terror with that stun. Right,
That
trap.
also played Grenadier in the corner. And, oh, yep, trap taking out Cage Prowler.
It's got to shut down the Cage Prowler, but perk 3 for Dark Crow. He's ahead. Now he's got a free Fire Imp, Flame Imp. Fire Imp, I think, is the technical name. Always call it Flame Imp. It's not going to be the same each time, though.
It does
feels
a lot of defensive value here, so...
It feels like Dark Crow, now he's got that perk 3, that extra card, he's going to be able to win this. Like, he was already ahead. I feel like that's just going to make it further ahead.
Yeah, it's hard for SeT to really do anything different here, because the deck doesn't have any spells, there's no RNG factors, so it's hard for him to be the one who changes things up. It kind of has to be Dark Crow making a mistake or getting unlucky.
Yeah, he's got a trap coming, crossbow trap available. Probably too late to shut down that Prowler.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good looking push. Dark Crow in a strong spot. Needs to be careful with those Blood Imps though. We've seen him in the past play the Blood Imps too many times and get punished when he's very low HP.
Defensive crossbow trap this time, which is rough, and then match versus Cage Prowler and you have no spells.
Yep. That Prowler's going to spawn again.
Also,
Fergus
Dark Crow spells are very good in this match. They're constantly getting value versus the Annihilator, the Drone Walker, the build up of minions. It's very easy to find plays for both these medium class spells. Oh, Burning Mana.
Yeah, Dark Crow looks like he can just close this game out. Another great Scritillery again. And SeT's defending the pushes, but it's taking him too long to deal with them, and then consequently we just see the 50 XP lead. That's a massive XP lead.
Yeah, it's a very solid, consistent match. This is one where Dark Crow didn't have to be scared that it was going to change ties. If you play consistently, you'll win in this sort of matchup, and he did a great job executing.
Okay, so looks like Dark Crow's going to be closing this out and bringing the series into 2 games all. That means we're almost into a decider. Just has to dot the I's and cross the T's here. SeT holding on, but he's so far behind. It's inevitable. Okay, there we go. Prowler gets a last little bite. And that is going to be 2 games all. And what do you think from the last game? Are we going to see SeT moving out from his comfort zone a little bit? Or do you think he's just going to stick to it and just say, look, to Dark Crow, look, you kind of know what I'm going to play. It's up to you if you're going to beat me or not.
I was thinking about that, and I would say, I don't want to be mean to SeT. I'd say he's going to be too nervous to do something outside of his comfort zone for the final game. So I'd say he'll stick with consistency for the sake of being comfortable in this final matchup.
Okay.
Dark Crow, we still have yet to see the new Scrat deck that I was talking about, which he might not ever play since Zeppelin Bomb was banned.
Okay. Let's get ready to go into the final game, the Decider. Right, we're loading into the Decider here, and Dark Crow has switched to King Puff. And it seems like not many players are prepared to play King Puff in tournaments, but Dark Crow definitely one of those that will.
Yep, Dark Crow, as far as I've known him in tournaments, has always had King Puff as an option whenever playing in tournaments. We see SeT playing the same deck again, which doesn't surprise me, because he doesn't want to risk being risky. Which is just how he is as a player, and it works for him, so what can you say? Again, though, we see a ton of Zen Chi on both sides, probably the #1 faction right now, and it's going to dominate the meta until something's done about it, but yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of Zen Chi, but not the Shroom Amashumi, which seemed to be the card that really was the catalyst to this switch to Zen Chi.
Right, but I think that it is easier to defend with top 2 players because you have a lot of control on your defense, and usually top 2 players are not concerned with offense as much as you'd normally expect because they have good ways of handling it.
Good switch here, yep. Oh,
There you go.
unfortunately, I was hoping that I was thinking that the Grenadier wasn't quite on the bridge, but it looked like obviously he was. He was
Yeah.
trying to switch behind it, grab the bridge, and then do whatever he needed to do. But look at all those shrooms at the top there.
So we see SeT put in Harmful Souls here, but yet again has no way outside of Crossbow Trap of stopping the Cage Prowler. So that is just another time when it's going to be a spiteful thing from the trap.
Yeah, and again, minimal face damage. Remember, the traps do 50% damage to face now. So that's kind of...
say that was a very healthy change. As much as I love Diona, that was a smart change to make. Because she was 40 DPS in the Master Tower with her perks, and that was a lot.
Yep. Right. XP lead for SeT. But perk 3 could be very strong. And
Nice.
Shen into... Look at that. Shen gets 2 attacks off while that stun's still there. Beautiful.
Here we see the constant oppressive pressure that Crow can put down with his deck. And that Defenso, these units are just too high damage for Defenso to really do anything.
Yeah, it's just slowing this down a little bit.
Shen carrying this for SeT, doing a very good job on every front, both lanes.
It's a decent amount of face damage on to SeT there. He needs to be careful. Can't allow that to happen too many times.
It'd be really nice if SeT could use Shen on the bottoms, but he kind of needs it just to defend Crow's pushes.
So both players are perk 2, so Ruffles in play, and the extra buffs as well for King Pup. You can see there's a spirit buff at the top there waiting to be picked up. There we go. So depending on the placement of the shrooms, you can end up with something that's buffed both by spirit and growth burst shroom, and that can be huge.
Yeah, that gets the monkeys up to around 700, 800 HP, and then at that point they do such a great job tanking that it's so hard to actually defend them without losing XP.
Oh, nice
Great
trap there.
catch.
I feel like he played the trap too far away, which made it easy to kind of play and grab it.
It gave Dark Crow more space, just place something down immediately without missing.
Maybe a little misplay there. Perk 3 for SeT. He is ahead on XP though.
But not by much, and again, Dark Crow, repeated push is used a lot to set the handle. Oh wow.
That Battle Monkey first. SeT clearing up there. Needs to be careful with the HP he's taken from the Prowler.
Ruffles might be able to stabilize him, and Dark Crow has decent face damage, but nothing terribly scary.
There's the Harmful Souls. Battle Monkey doesn't quite die though. Able to clear up. Still alive. It's going to clear everything up here.
Here comes Trap again with the same placement.
Oh, not quick enough that time. Here we see the bridge switch on the Blood Imps to get those Night Puffs. This could be where Dark Crow really gets a strong position in the match.
SeT has no AoE to take these out, so that tower damage is immense.
Yeah, he's dropping lower and lower on HP. I mean, to use Shen against a Defenso Chopper, which is kind of awkward.
Yeah, it's like Cleaver, but it's even a little worse than that. And I'd say at this point, SeT cannot lose any more HP, or Dark Crow will just throw spells on tower.
Free Shock Rock available for Dark Crow.
Free tower damage as well.
It's so difficult when you're so low on HP. You have to try to defend. It looks like Ruffles got a heal in there. And like, how does he defend and keep pressure on the bridges?
Yeah, that's true. His XP lead, he can sacrifice a bit just to survive, but at that point, you're taking away the way you need to win just to live, so you're going to lose in the long run. Down to 395, and at this point, like if they both reach mana frenzy, Dark Crow will just throw tower. So SeT needs another health potion, and he needs mana frenzy first.
Very close. Both players are pretty damn low HP. Dark Crow needs to be careful, especially with those Blood Imps. He's still cycling those Blood Imps. The problem for SeT is he doesn't have a great way of punishing the Blood Imps.
He needs to do Shen on those Blood Imps, or Defenso. But this push, oh, this is bad.
I don't think he can deal with this. Looks like Dark Crow's going to take this as he comes in with the Shen Shock Stick. And that is Dark Crow taking the game number 5 and taking the 3-2 victory. And he is the champion. And So, do you think he did a good job, Dark Crow, there, kind of being able to tech around what he expected SeT to play?
I think he was in that last match. He was obviously living on the edge of those blood imps because if SeT was just a little bit more organized, not saying he did a bad job, just that he had such a hard time defending that he wasn't able to capitalize on those last blood imps. But if he could have, he might have been able to win with tower damage if things were just a little bit different. Dark Crow overall, I think that both players are quite consistent simply because Zenshi is so tanky right now and good at dealing out damage. So you kind of just see it everywhere. And it's kind of like Dark Crow was countering Zenshi with Zenshi, and that makes sense, right? But the main thing that I think stood out to me was throughout this whole set, we'd see SeT have spell problems at basically every game. With ending the match and with stopping that Cage Prowler, he did win like at least one of the matches where he needed a spell, but it was constantly awkward, and he was paying the price for taking harmful souls when it didn't really pay out that much in these matches.
Yeah, it seems a strange choice. Outside of a Cursed X, I don't think we see harmful souls as a removal spell. And as you say, it does have potential situations where it can trade incredibly well, but it also has, of course, big drawbacks. So it doesn't have the AoE like the Scrutillery. It doesn't have the face damage like almost all other spells. So whilst it can do some things, it does have some glaring weaknesses, which we really saw on a lot of occasions in those matchups. So maybe he could think about taking a different spell potentially next time. But great to see Dark Crow coming out there and beating SeT. These guys have played so many times in finals, in events in the past. I don't know what the matchup is between them, but I know they've definitely both beaten each other in finals in the past. So not a huge shock to see them here, but great to have these top quality players here in the Fishbowl Brawl, the inaugural Fishbowl Brawl. And what is someone's alarm going off there?
No.
No? What was that
No,
noise?
of course
No.
not.
Was that your phone?
Nothing.
So professional. Okay, so that's pretty much everything we wanted to cover today. Remember, we're going to have these tournaments every month, 1v1 and 2v2 tournaments, so follow the links wherever you see them in the game, in the Discords, wherever. They are available to join for everybody of any ability. They're a lot of fun. You can be part of the community. You can enjoy yourselves. Maybe we'll see Deadshot in the next one or in some tournaments coming up. Always good to see you there. And yeah, I don't know if you've got any final words, but that's pretty much all I want to say. Congratulations to Dark Crow.
Yes, and I like pizza.
He likes pizza. Oh, you know what we can both do? We can both do the Awkward Wave. Thanks for joining me, Disu. It's time for the Awkward Wave.